Yes.
I love this.
The name's Agatha Harkness.
We knew it.
You already knew, baby.
Lovely to finally meet you, dear. It's been Agatha all along.
Wow. They made us look like a fool.
It's just her?
Snooper's gonna snoop.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. WandaVision just revealed it was Agatha All Along. Agnes is confirmed to be the witch, Agatha Harkness. She's got the boys, she's got Wanda, she's got our hearts. But now that Monica Rambeau has re-entered the game as a super-powered individual, maybe Photon, can she save everyone? Wanda the...
Oh, right before I sneezed. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Bless you. You gotta be careful because you don't want your soul to escape your body. There are witches abound, ready to snatch it up and gobble it up. Well, Jessica, welcome. This is Inside Marvel. This is our WandaVision after show. I'm Erik Voss here with Jessica Clemons. How are you? What did you think of that?
It was wild. And it was so funny because I was like really calm for the entire episode. And then when that song started playing, I was like, chef kiss. Yes. They gave, I love, it was so good. It was so good. And I couldn't tell, are we doing the Addams Family or was it the Munsters?
To me, it felt more Munstersy. Addams
what
Family
I thought.
has more of the slower double snap
I
there,
think
but
online people are like, with a nice Addams Family, and I was like, I think it's because you guys don't know the Munsters and you only know the Addams Family.
Yeah, Munsters had a beat to it.
Oh, I loved it. I'm so in love with it. And I can't wait to see her outfit. I can't wait to see her outfit.
Know. Just a taste.
God.
Just a taste so far. But I'm going to see that full thing.
I'm so excited.
Well, in this episode, Jessica and I are going to explain Agatha, right? Not Agnes anymore. She is Agatha. What her plan is. What that book was. What Pietro's appearance in the post-credit scene means. Yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, there is a post-credit scene in the middle of the credits. Go watch it. We're going to talk about Monica's powers. And we're going to talk about the meaning of that NEXUS antidepressant commercial that I was able to shockingly predict accurately in a video earlier this week.
Good job.
It was a
Everyone
swing.
on my Twitter was like, Voss is always right. And I was
Not
like,
always.
when isn't he? Oh, okay. I feel like your record,
sometimes
though,
wrong.
is like so many rights. So
More
many
rights than I would expect.
You're right. You were right. I was so mad about the Sparky thing because I was like, oh my God, Voss freaking said it. I was like, Voss.
Well, I don't want it to be right. If a dog is gonna die on screen, you'd want it to be natural causes. Unfortunately, she did murder it. We're gonna talk about why she murdered him, though.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Now, tomorrow will be my in-depth shot-by-shot breakdown of all the Easter eggs you missed in the episode. Now, if you happen to be in the comments of this video and you see someone says, Erik missed this detail, Jessica forgot to say this, if you see that, you have my permission to yell at that person because this isn't the damn breakdown. That is tomorrow. People don't get it. They'll still do it. People don't get stuff. It's fine. It's tough. But you can yell at me. I am wearing our new latest obsession shirt. It's an unusual couple. It's got secret augmented reality Easter eggs. It's amazing. We still have some, but supplies are running out. You can still get one at newrockstarsmerch.com. But the real cool thing is if you get the shirt, you get the opportunity to write in a custom shout out that will appear at the bottom of these Inside Marvel episodes. Let's see, who do we have down there? Von Crest asks, what are the possibilities that the cameo is Baron Mordo? The show is going to lead up to Doctor Strange. Good point. Good point. We have some thoughts on the cameo this episode. Michael Lombardo asks, or says, love you guys. Thanks, Mike. Do you think Evan Peters is sticking around for phase 4? We need a speedster. Wanda the... Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk more about Pietro as well. And then Tom Hoppin says, CMBR are the new cosmic rays. Hello, Fantastic Four. I mean, one would think by Monica passing through it.
Tom Hoppin. I almost said Tom Hopkins. Tom Hoppins.
Hopping all over it. Senor Scratchy over there, Tom Hop. Now, we are simulcasting this live on Stereo. You can get this app for free and follow us at stereo.com/newrockstars. If you're listening to us on Stereo now, stick around for a bonus segment at the end of the show in which we're going to react to your voicemails in real time. If you missed this live broadcast, you can catch us next week at 8 a.m. Pacific, stereo.com/new rockstars. So let's actually take a question right now from our stereo listeners. We have one queued up right now. Here we go.
What in the world else do you think this woman, Agatha, could be controlling now?
Very good question. Set to the Avengers theme back there. What
Okay,
else
that's what
is
I thought.
Agatha
I was
controlling?
like...
So yeah, Jessica, our first WTF. Wanda has Agnes, aka Agatha Harkness, been doing all along? Jessica and I are going to talk about this together. So Jessica, first off, I think let's catch everyone up. When Wanda goes down to Agnes's creepy basement, Agnes steps out and reveals her true identity as Agatha Harkness. That was probably
reveal in the world.
Coolest reveal in the world. Catherine Hahn has been crushing it. We knew something was suspicious about her. We knew from the moment she was announced as a nosy neighbor that she might actually be Agatha Harkness. Her name seems like an amalgamation of those two first and last name, right? In the comics, Agatha Harkness is the witch who often accompanies Wanda. She was there in the West Coast Avengers storyline that we keep referencing. And after she gets thwarted, she keeps showing back up again and again and again. Most of the time, it's in a role of some kind of nefarious entity that's manipulating Wanda. But sometimes a neutral, chaotic figure who might kind of be on Wanda's side in some stuff. But either way, she is a witch. She often is putting her in spells, wiping her memory, that kind of thing.
Doing witch things, wiping her memory.
You know witches. Witch is gonna witch. Now, this episode has, as we were talking about, that monster-style credit sequence, and it reframes all of this as Agatha's show, actually. Agatha All Along. And Jessica, did you hear this? I think that was Catherine Hahn singing the female part of that.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to, confirm that online, though, but I did think about that, because Catherine Hahn does have a background in music, so I was
she's a great singer.
So
she's not a great singer in Step Brothers, unfortunately. It's so funny to see her pretend not to be able to sing because she's got pipes. And that's it.
She can actually sing. And then she's in Central Park on Apple TV if you guys haven't seen it, because it's really good, and she's a great singer in that. But yes, keep going.
We see her hover down in this black witch dress, black boots, and then she warps reality before we see the full costume. But that costume is going to be sick when we see it next episode or the one after.
Oh my God. I'm so excited.
And then we see her warping reality. She is warping the reality using her violet magic into this 50s reality moments before she knocked on Wanda's door. And then we see all these moments throughout the series that Agnes has been a bit suspicious. Like, we see her unleashing Senor Scratchy during the Magic Show in episode 2. We see her kind of triggering Herb to malfunction. Interestingly, we see her picnicking on their lawn when Pietro knocks on the door with magic kind of pushing him in there, suggesting that at least the two of them are in cahoots or that they're working together in some way. But it looks like she was kind of compelling him to that front door. Then we see her in the car when she's talking with Vision last episode, clearly faking it, like, I'm ready for my close-up. And then she says she killed Sparky the dog. Oh, come on.
Oh, it hurt, but it was also so good.
It was satisfying to get some closure there.
And then she straight up just turned and said, and I killed Sparky too. I said, okay, give her the Academy Award.
Yeah.
Give her the Oscar. I'm tired of this.
She needs awards, yeah. She
Give
was
her an Emmy.
sitting behind the camera during the interview segment from this episode, which we had heard the voice of the director, and it sounded like it was a male voice, but it might have been her doing
She was doing it an octave low. When I rewatched it, I was like, this is definitely Catherine Hahn just doing a lower
Isn't that
voice.
awesome? I love that.
I love her. This episode is it's cool. People are like, it's a filler episode, but I'm like, I don't care if it was a filler episode. Catherine Hahn just straight up ruined the game with this.
Filler the way cream is filler in an Oreo.
Yeah, so we need it.
We need it. That's all we want. Now, the implication, Jessica, is that everything bad in Westview, maybe even the Hex itself, was actually Agatha's creation. Now, Wanda must have some control because it seemed like it was her decision to expand the Hex, freeze everything last episode. But for reasons we'll talk about, I think that decision could have been one that was, in a way, an extension of what Agatha wanted. Now, Agatha apparently lied about being a victim to Vision in order to get him to try to leave, right? Which would lead to Wanda expanding the Hex. Did Agatha want the Hex to be expanded?
Okay.
Or did Agatha just want Vision to get the F out of there? What do you think?
Okay.
Why do you think she lied to Vision last episode, Jessica?
Oh my god. Well, now that you said that, now I see that happening. But that seems too intricate for her to know that that was going to happen, that she would expand the bubble.
Okay.
Maybe she thought that she could also be like, because I wouldn't have been like, I'm going to lead him out there so she makes it bigger. I would be like, I'm going to lead her out there so she goes out there and destroys the world outside.
Ooh, I
what
like
if
that.
Agatha is stuck in the bubble too and she's trying to get out the bubble? So she needs, oh my god, I keep doing this. She needs Wanda to do something just drastic so she can get out.
Yeah.
Because there has to be some sort of hold that's connected like that, because it's too messy to be like, hopefully he'll fall on the ground and then she'll expand this world.
Yeah, you're right. That probably is one too many steps to plan. But
I get it
yeah.
though.
What if she just wanted Vision to leave? Like, now that the kids are born, now that the kids their powers are manifesting, she doesn't need Vision and him questioning everything and him confusing Wanda. Like, that is why she brought in Pietro, to try to control Wanda a bit better, to keep her there while she can try to get these kids from her. Because clearly Pietro wanted the kids too. He was trying to get in there and wedge between the relationship.
In that case, I feel like she's just like now breathing underwater, Agnes, because she's just like, now she's like, okay, this machine is here. I was expecting just like, because now we have like two villains. We have Hayward and now we have Agnes for sure. So it's like, I feel like there's so many hands now that they're just like, if she's trying to get him out, she's doing a horrible job at doing so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what her connection to Vision would be, because she's just like, every time she talks to him, it's a mess. But there is something she's like leeching onto Wanda to get in or get out of something. I think, and I also think it's just Agnes now. I do not think there's another person.
Okay.
We can get into that
Yeah,
later.
we'll get into that. Now I think you bring up a good point with Hayward, Jessica, because I'm kind of wondering if Agnes / Agatha and Hayward, I kind of feel like they are not on the same page, that they're both
not
trying to exploit Wanda and / Vision for different reasons. I think Hayward was trying to exploit Vision. Wanda interfered with that, and that Agatha used Wanda's rage over Hayward doing that to try to exploit her further now with this hex. I don't think Agnes and Hayward are working together. I might be wrong.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be helping Agatha and whatever she's trying to do ultimately. She's probably like, oh, they're really messing with her. Like, I'm messing with her, but they are like really messing with her.
Yeah.
So she could be just like feeding off that and luring her out there. But then like she turned away Monica.
Right.
She literally turned away Monica and said, well, I guess Monica was going to tell her the truth and make the world crumble. So she was like, nah, that's not going to happen. Not in my hex.
Well,
But
it's interesting because Agatha does kind of reveal herself now. She shows her cards.
She does.
And I was wondering why now. I'm thinking, Jessica, maybe it's because she now has the kids.
It's too late.
She has what she wants. It's too late for Wanda to do anything about it. And it's interesting. There's that little moment where she tells the camera, I did bite a kid once. So does that mean that she's trying to consume these kids, like the classical witch Hansel and Gretel? She's trying to eat them, or could it be like just a sign of her being hostile to the kids, and that this could be connected to something else, the whole Unleash Hell demon spawn, and that we're seeing an adaptation of these kids are part of Mephisto's soul, and Agatha's part of that.
Yeah, we're getting the world now of like Agatha is the villain. I didn't really necessarily think Agatha was the villain in the comics. I was more so just like, oh, she's helping her.
She's kind of
helping her.
She's kind of a conduit in the comics.
Yeah.
I would say.
So I was like, when we knew that she was going to be in there, I was like, oh, she's probably helping Wanda. Like, I kept being like, maybe it's this. Maybe she is bad, but maybe she's ultimately working for someone else, so she's not the villain. And now that she clearly, it's like, it's her all along, and she is the villain.
No question
I was
there.
like, I was like, oh, okay, so she is bad. So they could be piecing together, because this isn't going to be exactly like the comic books.
No,
so they
not.
could be using some of the, like, because when we saw the insects, I was like, oh, it could be Nightmare or Mephisto. But then I was also like, it's also just like a witch and devil trait of having like cicadas and a rabbit. So I was like, what if this is just Agnes and we're taking things that kind of lean Mephisto, kind of lean Nightmare, but it's just Agnes.
See, I read that cicada as like Silence of the Lambs, like Clarice Starling in the house seeing the moth and being like,
Clarice.
this is a guy. In that moment of like, I need to go check downstairs and see what's going on
in the basement.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I truly was like, oh, she changed these kids into an insect and a rabbit.
Even though one of them already wants a rabbit.
I was also like, when I rewound it and looked at that rabbit, because I was like, okay, that rabbit is one of the children. What is it doing that's weird? And it was just like nibbling on the grass.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I don't know if it's a child.
Well, I have a theory about that. But we got to talk about this book, Jessica. In my eyes,
The Darkhold.
This has got to be the Darkhold. Yeah. So
It has to be. Yeah.
for anyone wondering, the Darkhold is the Marvel Book of the Dead. It's kind of like the ancient spell book that is tied with all the supernatural stuff in the Marvel universe. It's appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it was in the Runaways too, but this has a different cover, a different design with like interesting symbols on it. Now, here's my thinking, Jessica. When we saw Doctor Strange a couple years ago, some people believe that one of the books in the Camartage library could be the Darkhold. It would make sense. That's kind of the library that contains all the spell books. And if that is the case, if this is connected to the sorcerer's side of the MCU, it might be based in eldritch magic. We just did a Big Question episode a couple weeks ago about the different kinds of magic in the MCU, and that might explain the hexagon, because the eldritch magic is all based on geometric shapes and just interesting geometric shapes. And then in this case, the hexagon could represent dark magic connected to the eldritch way of looking at things. Do you think that's it, or are they saying this is going to be a whole new, different kind of magic in the MCU?
Well, when you say it like that, that's the thing. When you say it like that, I believe you. when you say anything, I believe you should be a lawyer. I believe.
I tried to. I gave up.
Go to law school. Oh God, Voss, never give up. You can do
but
both.
if I didn't give up, I wouldn't be here with you talking about WandaVision.
Yes, you could. Yes, you could.
There's always time to go back to law school.
Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe that. That's a good theory. I was more so, I didn't even think about what I was thinking about when I saw that book immediately. I was like, okay, now they have their ties to Doctor Strange. Also, are we sure that he has the book? I know in the comics he has the book, but like in the MCU, he might not have the book, and that's why Agatha has it.
Yeah,
right now.
the Darkhold hasn't been established in the MCU Prime until yet, unless you consider Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. part of the MCU. There's a case to be made there, but in the main MCU that Kevin Feige, this is the first time a Kevin Feige produced property has had the Darkhold in it. So that's they can kind of do whatever they want with it now, I think.
I understand thinking that I don't know, maybe he lost it.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe he lost the most important book in history.
I think the idea is that, like, you know, if Caecilius' gang could break into that library and steal the Book of Cagliostro and tear out a page about dealing with, like, dark dimension spells, like, their security there kind of sucks.
I'm sure Agatha could break in and take that.
I mean,
book
Wong's
back.
just sitting there listening to Beyonce on an iPod while Strange is flipping around taking stuff. So I feel like anybody could.
Oh my God, they definitely could have taken the book. But yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But also, I feel like with the hex magic, the dark magic, I think this book has a lot to do with the whole Nexus commercial. Yeah. So I will probably get into that more. But I was mainly just like watching it, and I was like, after seeing the Nexus commercial, I was like, oh yeah. Every kind of like really powerful being can go there. Got it. Mm-hmm. And then we got the Darkhold book, and I was like, okay, so are we connecting this to Doctor Strange, Blade?
I hope so.
Like everything now.
I hope Blade gets brought in through this Darkhold.
Blade has to get that book.
Yeah.
Look, Blade's gonna get that book.
Blade's gonna get that book.
Ooh, and he's gonna do it. And my husband's gonna do his spells. Blade is my husband. I said it now, and I want that to be known through.
Oh my God! If Ralph is just Mahershala Ali as Blade, it would make no sense. But I would lose my damn mind.
Oh, I'm gonna flip my. The people on stereo can't see how much I'm reacting to this right now, but. What? I don't know how I would read. I don't know how. Like, okay, I don't know how to explain this, but when like Agatha came out and was just like, "Oh, honey, you thought you're the only magical person here," I resurrected. It was like seeing Wicked live when they did like Defying Gravity. It was like RuPaul's Drag Race when Sasha Velour ripped off her wig and the roses fell. I truly was so shook. I couldn't move.
Yeah, Kelly and I just watched Wizard of Oz this week, rewatched it just because we hadn't seen it forever. Oh, it's so great. It's such a classic. Margaret Hamilton is amazing in that movie. God. And it's like, now watching, you can definitely see some notes of that in Catherine Hahn's performance of just like, I don't give a f***. You know, it's so great. What? And she kills a dog.
unhinge my jaw and like scream like a snake. I don't know why that would be the case. I would to this because it was amazing. Someone on Twitter said the Witches of Westview, and it like hurt me, and now it's stuck to me, and I was like, this is a good
It's pretty much
let's
it.
make it into a spin-off.
Yeah,
Disney.
hell yeah. All right, Jessica, let's talk about Wanda and Pietro, because Pietro has been kind of dominating the conversation in recent weeks. He does pop up in this post-credit scene. I hope you guys all saw it. It's Monica snooping down into Agatha's basement. She opens the shutter doors, and then he goes, "Snooper's gonna snoop," which I love it.
Gonna snoop.
And then we cut to black. And we also saw during that Monsters credit sequence that it was Agatha who brought Pietro to Wanda's door. So it would suggest that, at the very least, Agatha and Pietro are working together. Doesn't necessarily mean that Pietro himself is like Nightmare or Mephisto. He could just be a kind of puppet, a pawn, a tool used by Agatha. But for now, at least, it seems that Evan Peters is not Quicksilver from the X-Men franchise. That Marvel's not jumping to that yet, and this is just kind of Agatha's stunt casting trick. How do you feel about that, Jessica? Do you think fans are gonna accept that?
It sucks. I will say that as a fan, I was truly like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun! Can't wait to see where he goes." But after seeing him appear, she obviously like and also that episode where he showed up and knocked on the door, Wanda was like very sympathetic and was like, "I didn't make this happen." During the fight, she was like, "I don't know who's at the door." So it was clearly Agatha created this being based off of her brother, put him in there, and was just like, "Boop, here you go." And so that's why I think she's just is like a minion created by Agatha to like torment, but also to work for Agatha. It's just a whatever. She could have done it episodes ago, but like she needed it in that moment. So I think the fun part is like, why did she choose the Quicksilver from like the Sony versus
Or from the Fox?
the Quicksilver from the Fox versus like the MCU's Quicksilver? And I was like, maybe she didn't know what Pietro actually looked like, so she like, created this
I think it's a nod to like Agnes being a witch, Agatha Harkness being a witch, who can kind of transcend reality. They mentioned Nexus. We'll talk about what that means, but I think there still might be a multiversal connection here. I'm not saying that they're going to bring in Fox X-Men so soon, but I think it's implied that she can kind of see us, that she can talk to us, and she's winking directly at us, and that's what Evan Peters is all about.
If he shows up more, I'm very here for it, but realistically, I was like, he's going to die with the Hex. Yeah. Like, as soon as the Hex goes, he goes too, and we're never going to see him again. And then we might see Aaron Taylor Johnson and like later.
That'd be cool.
Because I mean,
I think Kevin Feige's mutant plan, and I went to this in a video earlier this week. I just don't think he's going to own up to every weird movie and plot point that happened in the Fox X-Men franchise. He has his own mutant plan. That's going to be great, and I think at the end of the day, it's going to be better than what we saw. There's some great movies.
I'm very
Jessica
excited.
and I talked about this in Big Question this week. Some great movies of X-Men First Class, the very first X-Men. There's some definitely worth watching, but it's of a different era, and Feige's looking forward. He's not looking backward, I don't think.
Absolutely. I can't wait till we get our hands on it. It's going to be so much, like, it's going to be
great. All right, let's talk about the rabbit, Senior Scratchy, and how he connects with it. So the rabbit comes back, greater importance. When he came up in episode 2, we were talking about how he could be referenced to Old Scratch, which is a nickname for the devil, but Agatha's son is Nicholas Scratch, so it could just as easily be that. Do we think that what do you think this rabbit's gonna end up being, Jessica?
I'm such an idiot. I know so much about Nicholas Scratch because he's just like, he becomes basically a bad guy, essentially in the comic books, but like, depending on who you think is bad, I think he's a bad guy. Because he kind of throws his mom under the bus. Yeah. But I'm so stupid because it wasn't until someone on Twitter was like, yeah, Nicholas Scratch, Senior Scratchy, and I was like, oh my God. I didn't even put those two together. Yeah. I feel like it's just a nod to her son, because what would the perks be of bringing him into the universe? I mean, I guess
I think it's either a nod or like it could be both. Like it could be I'm not off the Mephisto train yet. Yeah,
I think it's more the devil than it is her son. I think it's more a spiritual thing than it is her child.
Now, and here's why I think this, Jessica. This basement was covered with all these vines, and they seem to be stemming from these purple flowers that were all over her yard. She was wearing purple this episode. That is the color of Agatha. And I'm thinking these plants could be the Wundagore Everbloom. This is Agatha's plant that grows in her yard, and in the Tom King Vision comics, that's the plant that Sparky the dog eats, or has eaten by the time Virginia has killed the dog, and then she finds this plant in his remains in his stomach, and then she eats this plant, and it allows you to see visions of the future, see projections of what life could be. as you feel pain, as you cry. And I wonder if that could tie into what the spell is, what this hex is on Wanda, is like this plant. Because think about it. The first time she walks up to their house, she brings a house plant to them, and it has a purple ribbon around it. And throughout, this plant stays in their house. It warps with the house. And then when Billy is feeding the rabbit, he's feeding it like leaves of a plant. Right next to the Darkhold, there was a more leafy plant right there. And I'm thinking maybe Sparky was digging around in the yard and started to eat those, and that's why Agatha killed him.
Oh, yeah. Why would you grow that outside then? You're just asking for a dog to come eat your
Well,
drug
maybe
plants.
you could assume that your neighbors should keep their dogs on a leash. As
That
you
is-
should, residents of
Ooh.
North Hollywood, leash your dogs.
Leash your dogs, no ho. This is so funny. This is when they start putting up the signs that are like "Beware of dog" or like
Yeah. Beware.
"Get your dog off my lawn."
This is just Clint Eastwood. Get your dog off my lawn.
So
You can stand on my lawn, not your dog.
That's-
I'm a cat person.
yeah, that dog definitely was eating those drug plants, and she was like,
Nope.
and then zipped
Zipped
him to
him.
death. No, zipped him to death.
Zipping bed.
Yeah, I could completely. That's like such a huge nod of you digging so deep that I'm sure that people are probably missing. They're probably like, oh yeah, it's just like its own dungeon
Hey,
hell. Of course, this is a witch's lair.
It's just the top layer of this
But-
7-layer bean dip of how far I'm gonna dig, babies. Tomorrow's
You
video,
definitely
I got so
dig.
many clues that I'm finding in here. I'm gonna go so
You
far.
definitely dig. And yeah,
dig.
I hate
All the
you.
way to hell.
You're a mole. It's Groundhog Day was like 2 weeks ago.
Now, let's continue to talk about the production design of this basement. So there were hexagons containing these weird, odd symbols. And there were bones everywhere, animal remains, and there were statue faces on the walls. And Jessica, there was an animal skull that looked like, at first I thought it was a goat. I think it's a ram.
It's not scratchy. Oh.
What'd you say?
Or scratchy. I was like, it's not the dog.
No, it's not the dog, but it looks like a ram. At first, I'm like, is this Baphomet? Is this like a demonic kind of like thing? When you see a curved horned animal skull on a wall, your first thought is satanic ritual.
Yeah, she's a witch.
She's a witch. And I think the question we have to talk about, Jessica, is she is the villain here. It was Agatha all along, but is she working alone? Because Paul Bettany's interview came out this week from Esquire suggesting that some unknown actor still has not been revealed. Someone he's going to have fireworks with. And in this episode, it looks less likely that WandaVision is going to explore X-Men and more likely that it's going to explore dark magic. And I know there are some rumors out there that this villain is going to be Nightmare. I think that's possible. I just say based on this episode and last episode, Wanda says she's not asleep. And I think the idea of sleep versus awake is very big deal to Nightmare. Wanda's awake right now. She's just under a trance. And I think as we're getting more and more into witchcraft and the satanic imagery and the Darkhold, this is the realm of Mephisto. And it doesn't mean he's the one behind it all. I think Agatha is behind it all. But I just think this could be something she did to please her partner. I think she is linked with someone else we have not seen.
I feel like she has a partner, but I don't know how big they have to do with this, but they might appear. Like, I don't know, especially when I'm not saying that they don't do this, but to put the song, it was Agatha all along, and then be like, also her partner.
No, I
I'd
agree.
be like, wait a minute, you just said the song.
Totally agree. Totally
You
agree.
just said in the
and
song.
I prefer Katherine Hahn being the big bad of this series because she's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to undercut her, insidiousness. I'm just saying, like, she could have it. She must have some kind of silent partner behind the scenes. And that doesn't mean that silent partner has to be important to what happens in the plot of the story going forward. It could just be like a voice on the other side of the shadow that she is communing with as she's reading this Darkhold book. But I think the evidence is still there. If all you Mephisto heads, I'm one of you. I think we still have 2 big episodes coming.
Mephisto girls.
Mephistohood, as Tommy Bechtold coined.
The Mephistohood? There you go. Oh, that's funny. I think what I will predict is that she will get out of the hex. She will not prevail, so to speak, but she won't die within the hex. And then we'll get like a little like after credit scene of her going back to her hovel, wherever she is, in the mountains. And maybe we see either the demon that like helped create Wanda, or we see Mephisto, or we see that. And that's like that nod that's like, oh, this is going to be coming into the MCU eventually. I don't know. I think this is going to be like, this is all Agatha. She's the queen. And then maybe we'll see like, oh, here's a little bit. I don't think they're gonna, like how you said, I don't think they're gonna undercut her being the star right now.
Right.
And we also only have 2 episodes. You can't add too much. Yeah,
and it's the same thing of like when you're watching any kind of fiction or reading any kind of story, there's like, you know, any kind of epic myth. There are the earthbound heroes and villains that are fighting each other, but there are the gods up in the heavens and the demons down below who are using them as champions. The ones we relate to are the earthbound heroes, but that doesn't deny the existence of these divine forces that are trying to at least observe and pick a winner and bet on a winner. So, I mean, I don't want anyone else to be the villain other than Agatha right now because she's so great.
Yeah, truly.
In terms of like the story mechanics, but she could have a silent partner that she's either trying to please or overthrow or whatever it is. And if she does have a silent partner, I kind of feel like the evidence is there for it to be Mephisto.
Again, you can't throw that crap in here, for me at least. I'll be pissed if it's Nightmare, because you just gave us the Darkhold.
Right.
You literally just gave us the most demonic thing in the universe. And how are you going to be like, psych, it's Nightmare? I'm going to be like, get out of here. Yeah. Get out of here.
The truth is, Jessica, and I'm not encouraging anyone to do this. I have been told that there are some leaks that are out there. And these leaks are not leaks. They're most of the time they're just like people who go on 4chan and say stuff and claim to be an inside source, and then they're taken as real, and then like people believe them even when they're wrong. It's like QAnon shit sometimes. They make some general statements that are easily proven right, and I think Nightmare was tied into one of those, and that's why people are saying, "Oh, it's Nightmare." But I don't know.
It's also fun to just ignore those.
Please do ignore those, because
I literally ignore it.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, I'm gonna watch this and be stunned on my own.
All right, we are gonna continue with the Nexus, with what happened to Monica, because a lot of other stuff happened this episode. First, we want to thank some friends who helped us make it. Our friends at ExpressVPN, thank you for sponsoring this episode. So Netflix hides thousands of shows from you based on your location, right? And then they have the nerve to increase their prices on you. Starting at the end of this month, they're going to raise their prices again. And instead of canceling your subscription in protest, here's what I recommend you do. Get your full money's worth by using ExpressVPN, like I do. So what's on Netflix in your country is completely different from what someone in the UK or Japan has on theirs. And when you use ExpressVPN, you can control which country you want Netflix to think you're in. ExpressVPN has over 90 countries to choose from. The newest season of Rick and Morty isn't on the US Netflix, but with just one tap of a button, ExpressVPN lets me change my location to the UK so that I can watch it. Use ExpressVPN to unlock shows on other streaming services too, like BBC iPlayer, which is free and only available in the UK. ExpressVPN is also super fast and works on your iPhone, your tablet, your laptop, even smart TVs, so that you can watch your shows on the big screen with zero buffering. So be smart. Stop paying full price for streaming services and only getting shows to a fraction of their content. Get your money's worth at expressvpn.com/WandaVision. Don't forget to use our link so that you can get those 3 extra months for free. That's expressvpn.com/WandaVision, expressvpn.com/WandaVision to learn more. We also want to thank our friends at Bombas for sponsoring this episode. So Bombas makes the most comfortable socks in the history of feet. They have literally rethought every little detail in the socks that we wear to make them way more comfortable. I just got a few pairs of Bombas socks and I love them. They're comfortable for walking around the house in just socks, or when I strap on some shoes and actually attempt to move about the world to walk Darla. But these socks do more than just keep my feet cozy. They help give back to the most vulnerable members of our community, because every pair of socks that you purchase from Bombas donates a pair to someone in need. The generosity of Bombas customers has allowed them to donate over 40 million pairs of socks through their nationwide effort of 3,000 giving partners. And the impact is more powerful than ever. To those experiencing homelessness, these socks represent the dignity of putting on clean clothes, a small comfort that's actually very especially important right now. So give a pair when you buy a pair and get 20% off your first purchase at bombas.com/marvel. That's BOMBAS bombas.com/Marvel for 20% off your first purchase. Bombas.com/Marvel. And lastly, we want to thank our friends at Stereo for sponsoring us. We know you have a ton of questions and a whole bunch of theories about this episode, and we're going to address a lot of them in our bonus Q&A segment that will only be on Stereo. Jessica and I are live on Stereo as we record this. Stereo is this fun audio app with live social conversations that we've been having a blast with lately. New Rockstars has 3 weekly shows on the app, including this live Inside Marvel taping every Friday. And after we're wrapped on the YouTube show, Jessica and I are going to answer all of our Stereo listeners' questions that we can get to. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over on the Stereo app for New Rockstars 3 new shows. So we got this one, and then New Rockstars News with me and Philip on Wednesdays, and then our editor's show on Mondays. Download the Stereo app and follow us at stereo.com/newrockstars, or click that link in the description. Again, that's stereo.com/newrockstars. We're having a great time on Stereo. Follow New Rockstars and get notified every time we go live. All right, we're going to go back to this episode here.
All right.
Jessica, we have another Wanda the Fuck that we're going to take from Stereo. Let's see what they said.
You were right about the commercial. What do you think it means? What is Nexus?
So, weirdly, yeah, I made this prediction in a video earlier this week. To anyone asking, I don't work for Marvel. Marvel doesn't give me anything. They don't tell me anything.
Yes, he does. He's being nice. He's being courteous, but he gets the spoilers.
If I did,
he said,
I wouldn't
don't
be
look at the
wrong
leaks, but he's the
all the
leaking.
time.
He's the leak.
I'm
He's
the leak.
leak in the faucet.
I'm Anon.
Oh
Manon.
my god. He's the gossip girl.
Yeah. I mean, really, this is a prediction I just made based off of the themes on the show. And, like, I don't know, I studied a lot of journalism and advertising in college. And you kind of know, based off of what the history of advertising is in this country, how they target ads at women. And the one ad missing from that trend was a pharmaceutical antidepressant ad that's been dominating advertising for the past 15 years. And knowing that the show's all about Wanda's mental health, it's like, how are they not going to include an ad like that? It's like SNL, all their ad parodies are based off of these antidepressants. So.
Or shingles.
So Nexus. Let's talk about Nexus, Jessica, because Nexus is, a reference to the fact that Wanda Maximoff is a Nexus being. She is not tied down to any one reality. She can connect to all kind of realities. That's how House of M works, is that she is kind of the fulcrum on which all these realities get flipped. And she stays the constant.
But does she know that?
I don't think she knows it at this point. Someone's going to have to explain. So how do you think that's going to get revealed to her, Jessica?
I have no idea. The show is about answers. And I straight up said, I don't know. At least I have the courage and bravery to say that I don't know. Okay. So there's a couple ways this could go, but I think a main one is maybe later down the line when we start talking more about Doctor Strange. Because Doctor Strange definitely knows he is, and he knows about the Nexus realities. Like, he's aware of it probably, and the math of, like, I have to be here, you have to be here, 2 can live in this part at this time. Like, I'm sure he's aware. So maybe he's the one that explains that to Wanda. Ooh. I feel like Wanda's gonna learn about it eventually, but I don't know if she's gonna learn about it in WandaVision. There's not enough time now for her to get, like, a rundown of who she is.
I mean,
unless Agatha tells her. I think
that'd be a pretty revealing thing to tell Wanda, that she has that level of power. Because I think at this point, she's like, you're in my clutches. There's nothing you can do. I will tell you my evil plan, and that information will be used to blow up in my face.
Oh, why did I put an off switch here?
Why did I tell you you were a Nexus being? Damn it, I'm a Jack-in-the-Box now.
That's truly that. She'll probably do that, honestly. But then I feel like Wanda won't be surprised. She'll be like, yeah, I know. I created an entire world. Like, yeah, I'm aware.
The fact that it shows up in a commercial is interesting, right? Because it means that Wanda's, it seems like all these commercials have been from Wanda's subconscious, that this is her subconscious speaking back to her. This is the pain that she's been trying to cover up, but it leaks through in these commercial breaks. So the memory of the Stark bombshell that didn't blow up, Hydra's brainwashing, Lagos getting all the people that she accidentally killed there, and then the Yo Magic yogurt. That to me is like the hardest one to interpret. But Nexus, clearly they're saying like reality can be whatever you want it, because the world doesn't center around you, or does it? Yeah. And I think
does it?
Yeah, that tells us that like this is gonna also be a bit of House of M. And that by the end of this, Wanda will probably set up some kind of multiverse, right, in the MCU. It's just
Truly.
Pietro isn't evidence of the multiverse yet. It's kind of like we keep getting these fake outs, right? Mysterio was from the multiverse. Just kidding. Pietro, clearly Evan Peters, Quicksilver from the Fox franchise. No, just kidding. I think there's going to be, the way this hex expands and then warps all of the world will be kind of a way that she shows her abilities as a Nexus being.
I feel like every commercial is hitting a lot harder every time. It progressively hits deeper, because when I heard that Hydra Soak one, I was like, damn, they're just like punching us in the face with it. And then the Yo Magic, I was like, okay, damn, we get it. She's a survivor. Like, stop making her relive the hardest parts. And then this one is just like, the world doesn't revolve around you.
Yeah.
Or does it? And it's like, wow, okay, so now you can control anything you want. So I feel like as she progressively gets more, like, later into the show, we're going to get, like, commercials that are just rough as hell. Like, the last one's just going to be like, you can kill everyone if you want. Do it.
You can leave your friends behind.
Yeah, you can leave your friends behind. Murder everybody.
Now,
in
just to
sight.
give some people context in Marvel Comics about what Nexus beings are. So Scarlet Witch is one of them, but also Jean Grey is one of them, another Omega level mutant who can kind of rewrite reality. Vision in certain comics
of course
Kang the Conqueror is a Nexus being, because what that means is that the rules of one particular timeline or reality do not confine them. That they can kind of exist outside, separate within the time stream. And we're going to meet Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania. And I think we're going to get some definitions about what Nexus beings mean to the MCU in Loki. Because Loki has a time variance authority. You could very easily see Owen Wilson as Mobius and Mobius talking to Loki. Maybe Loki could be defined as a Nexus being in the MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not typically, but
right?
in the way the MCU is going to do it, he absolutely could be someone who's detached from timelines now.
Because it's also just, it's like, it's someone that's just like, you can be a necromancer or just like a hexer or just someone with intense magical ability. It's like any magic. Really dark, good
But just
magic.
know when you hear the word Nexus, that means multiverse. That is a word with X in it that you can actually look at that letter X as meaning time to move to another universe. So it's exciting to hear the word Nexus, because I was worried that they weren't going to explore multiverse with the way they seem to be casting Pietro in this. But we're back in
There's
the
so much
multiverse.
stuff that happens in the Nexus too that they'll probably not get into, but if you read the comics, there's just so much shit that happens in the Nexus that it's like, oh, only the cool of the cool can get into the Nexus.
Now, by the way, if you are looking for some really, really in-depth WandaVision theory discussion in between these new Rockstars video drops, we have an awesome Discord server where pretty much 24/7 clues are being discovered, conversations are happening, connections are being made. I call it Takes Too Hot for YouTube. And you can join this Discord community by becoming a patron at patreon.com/newrockstars, exclusive to our generous patrons. And it's such a cool place to chat about this. All right, our next Wanda the Jessica, Monica. We gotta talk about Monica. She seems to be powered up now. What
We
happened
do.
in this cool moment where she's going through
getting
the
there.
barrier? What was that?
Oh my god, I
Yeah.
loved it. I was so mad a little bit that I was like, oh yeah, it's because in one of the comics, she gets it by like destroying, not a weapon, but just some giant, oh my god, I vaguely, like she destroys it, it explodes, the combustion with that, she gets her powers. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be the truck. When the truck explodes, it's gonna like, because she made the truck to her liking, it's gonna explode, she's gonna get powers. And then when the truck flew backwards and she ran through it, I was like, oh my gosh, she wants to die. Like, she's gonna run full force through this. And she took off the helmet. She took off her helmet and was like, I'm running full force. Jimmy was like, please don't. She was like, hold my beer. Watch this. Ran through. And so I love that moment, especially because her memories were going like timeline wise. They were like, we hear like everything from her.
Some lines, some audio from Captain Marvel. We heard the voice of Nick
like,
Fury in there, which is cool. And you're gonna glow like you're
yes,
Carol.
exactly. And I was like, ooh, we're getting it. It was so fun to now be like, to finally see it and be like, we're getting her. She's in the MCU now. She has powers. You can tell by her eyes. You can tell by her eyes.
Her eyes glowed blue, and she was able to see inside Westview in this weird electromagnetic spectrum. Like, she could see the radiation for what it was in that moment, which I think was fascinating. You notice how in the post-credit scene, her eyes were glowing purple then? So was she under the spell at that point?
Do we want to talk about that really quick? What is that? What is it a spell or is it like, because I don't think No, Agatha is stronger. Agatha is technically stronger than Wanda.
Or at least more in control. I don't know if she's stronger, but she knows what she's doing.
That's true. Yeah, more in control. So is she gonna have them do her bidding, or is she just gonna make them unconscious? Step them out, because maybe the next episode is Vision versus Agatha. We're gonna see, like, because these two are out of the picture now.
Yeah,
for a second. I don't know what happened.
I think we're gonna see this battle with I don't know if they're gonna do Photon or Spectrum. I assume they're gonna call her Photon just because her mom's call sign was Photon.
Yeah, because the mom.
But like she's gonna be struggling against Agatha's sorcery, and while she might be able to match Wanda's sorcery, I don't think she can overwhelm Agatha's sorcery yet. And then I think Vision's gonna have to arrive, and Vision's going to at least break them free. We're gonna see like a 3-on-1 battle or something like that, maybe a 3-on-2.
A 3-on-2.
But this is exciting that like it just seems like so now she's been through this radiation wall 3 times, there, back, and then back in.
Yeah.
So that third time was the charm to fully awaken her. So do we think that she had a genetic predisposition? Is she gonna be a mutant, or was it just like anyone who goes through the radiation this much will have that power?
I don't think it's anyone, but I think she was special. It sounds so corny, but it is also like, and it's a Disney movie, so I think she was specific. There is something about her. I don't know if it was some like her DNA was already altered, but I don't think someone else could have, like some random sword agent couldn't go through 3 times and then turn into some sort of superpower being. I think it was specifically Monica for something, but I don't know. Maybe spending so much time around Carol Danvers.
It seems like
some extra radiation.
We'll talk about that in a second. But real quick, let's talk about this. Wanda is Sword's history with Captain Marvel. It seemed like her friend Major Goodner was like, that's not all we're loyal to. It seems like she was also talking about Carol Danvers, but notice how Monica's reaction was kind of like like mixed there. So what do you think that was? What is their history? Why are some people like ashamed to be friends with her, whereas other people are still loyal?
I think it's just Monica. I think everyone else loves Carol Danvers because everyone's like, yeah, we know how you feel about our Lord and Savior, Carol Danvers. And everyone else is like, or Monica's like, no, like, whatever. I think it's just between Monica and her, but I really do want to know what that beef between her and Monica is. I keep saying that it's just that her mom wasn't there she wasn't there during her mom dying or something, but there has to be something more. She does not like her anymore.
Yeah, there was some incident where, she's like, you're gonna have to glow like your Aunt Carol. Maybe like, like young Monica got irradiated at some point, but didn't turn into Captain Marvel or a version of Captain Marvel, and then that radiation gave her mom cancer. So she kind of blames Carol Danvers for that.
I believe that completely, and that's why, because that would make sense why she's so like hard for like hating her.
But yeah, the answer to getting irradiated as a kid is just keep irradiating yourself. Just keep walking through a wall,
and then maybe one day you'll be a superhero. Let alone, that's probably a lot of work, and I would not want to do it, but like,
a big responsibility. It's a great power, but great responsibility.
I want to lay on my couch.
Let's talk about Major Goodner. This whole thing with why the was a reveal with Monica's mystery engineer. Goodner doesn't seem like anyone special.
This wasn't it.
Okay, so you think there's someone else who built that?
No, there's someone else. Okay. There's someone else. It's someone else, and I can't wait for Blue Marvel.
Blue Marvel, let's get that guy in a movie.
I thought. I don't know. I might be thinking like crazy. I pitched on Twitter. I was like, if it's not Reed Richards, why could it not be Blue Marvel? And then last night I saw a lot of other like nerd comedians being like, well, can't wait to see Blue Marvel. And I was like, okay,
Blue Marvel's your Mephisto now. Everyone's gonna say, oh, here's Jessica with her Blue Marvel theories.
Here's Jessica with her damn Blue Marvel. Okay, all I'm saying is it's Black History Month. And not only did they give us Monica becoming her superhero and me being like, but if they gave us Blue Marvel, that'd be even more.
We would be eternally grateful.
But I don't think this was it. I was like, this isn't it. As soon as she showed up, I felt bad for this person because I was like, this isn't this. This isn't the person. I was like, this is just the team delivering it. How dare they tease us like this?
This whole thing of there's a theory that Goodner in that unit could be Skrulls.
That's what. I read something about that too online, and I was like, I get that, but also like, how are we supposed to guess that?
Because Jimmy Woo wrote Skrulls in episode 4, and then we're just supposed to remember that Skrulls are important.
Oh, he took notes from Erik Voss and wrote Skrulls over and over again. I would be okay with that if they, like, at the end, all you see is her blink and it's like a scroll eye or something. I don't know if that's a thing.
See, I'm
like...
going with this group is either a scroll or it's just a nothing burger that they weirdly built up for some reason.
I guess it could be scrolls because they changed themselves to look like humans because Jimmy Woo's with them.
You can't trust Woo. Like, he does magic. Don't trust someone who does magic.
Oh God, the takeaway from this entire show is don't trust magic. Never hire a magician for weddings, you guys.
So our sixth one of the is this missing kid on the milk carton. Did you catch this? So
I did, and I can't zoom in. You always choose things where I can't zoom in on it.
Well, you can't really see a name
small.
yet. I'll look into this more in the breakdown. But do you think this is connected with the way Wanda brought kids into Westview?
Oh, like the missing...
That those kids could be, like, missing from real life, and then she sucked them in like a Pied Piper into the...
That'd be so dark. She's like, I'll give you a home. Zoop. Zoop. And brought them in. That'd be pretty dark. That'd be... I mean, she is slinging a corpse around, so it would not surprise me that she is... stealing children. But then when the hex is done, these children go back to being like sad and alone and lost.
I guess so. Or they just go back to their families. Like maybe I mean, that would be a weird thing to show up in Westview. Like they would already have milk cartons printed out in the normal world that this kid's been missing. It's only been like, what, 4 or 5 days?
It probably is online by now, but I was like, I can't zoom in. Those things are way too small.
But you can pause. You can pause and pull the monitor up to your face. That's what I do.
Oh, okay. I'm not even wearing my glasses right now. I'm just like in there.
So Jessica, we have our What the Devil segment here, but we kind of covered that ground. Is there any kind of final word you have on whether this could be Mephisto?
It was that entire last scene. It was all devil stuff in there. They had the ram. They have a rabbit. If you've seen the Vitch.
So did this episode, I'd obviously been way too much on this Mephisto train. Did this final scene make you more on the Mephisto train or less on the Mephisto train?
Talking about it out loud with you made me be like, it's definitely, if people are like, okay, it has to be Nightmare Mephisto, I'm leaning still very much Mephisto. How are you going to have all this devil stuff in here? But Agnes will be the main villain, and then we'll get like that like her partner is Mephisto kind of thing. Like this is a person that she's working with slightly. I don't think Mephisto's going to be as big as we wanted him to be.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever wanted him to be that big of a deal. I just wanted to mention a reference of his existence, that he's somewhere in the shadows watching all this. That's all I ever really needed.
Well, I was on board with he's like controlling Agnes. I was on board, especially with that scene where Herb, not Herb, where Herb was like Wanda, and we were trying to figure out what he was saying, if it was like we're trapped here. I was like, oh, what if he's like, Wanda, Agnes has us all here? So I was like...
Yeah. Well, she is. It was Agatha all along. We just learned that. This is her show, and I'm so excited to see what Catherine Hahn does next.
I can't...
Well, we're going to wrap it up here for this YouTube Inside Marvel After Show. We're going to be back, of course, next week to talk about the biggest Wanda, the Fs from episode 8. And then the breakdown is coming out tomorrow. Those of you listening on stereo, we're coming to you guys now for your questions. And that conversation, we're going to pop that out. And you guys are going to get some YouTube channel screen time, I think, on Sunday's video. So, but we're going to do that live right now. If you missed it, be sure to download and follow us on the free Stereo app, stereo.com/New Rockstars to be part of the fun. We got 3 new live shows, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Jessica, thank you so much for joining me. Follow Jessica at Lulu_Clemons. Follow me at EA Voss. Subscribe to New Rockstars. Follow Inside Marvel wherever you get your podcasts. And we're going to close out with our favorite of the episode.
I promise I won't bite.
I actually did bite a kid once.